On this episode of The Bender Hour, I love a chalupa.
I love a chalupa. That rhymes with fupa. You know what that means? That's a fat upper pussy area. And then it just cuts like that. Ding! Here's an accurate wireframe visualization of what was happening in my colon.
Like Trump ass naked, completely strapped to a wall, screaming as his pubes get sheared off.
Wow, awful chicken. I hate Chick-fil-A. This place sucks my balls.
The only reason I come here is because every Chick-fil-A is just staffed by the fattest ass white woman ever. If you go to your Chick-fil-A and there isn't a pog working the counter, you can sue me.
And then like the rest.
So, because of the fucking Doom video, I've been receiving recommended videos about that fucking Doom mod now. And one that just made me mad reading the title, it's probably like, it's gotta be the most viewed video on it. It's titled myhouse.wad, Inside Doom's Most Terrifying Mod. And I just read that title and got pissed off. Like, was that scary to you?
No.
Was that mod terrifying in the fucking least?
Like, it had the most basest of, like, what you'd even consider, like, jump scares. And that's
Like,
it. And they're
like,
not even, like, dedicated jump scares.
It was, like, eerie, sure, but I wouldn't call it terrifying. I think the only thing that was genuinely terrifying might have been Shrek fucking throwing that haymaker. But...
Yeah.
But on like a related tangent, has like, because there are people that consider Doom to be like a horror game, right? Like the original Doom. And I never understood that. Because like, I never thought Doom was scary. And it's not even like a graphical thing, because like, you can pull off horror, right? With fucking pixel art and shit. It's just like, when you have a game that's kind of supposed to be horror and it gives you a fucking shotgun that you can use to blast everything that shows up to fucking kill you, like, it's not scary anymore because you can defend yourself.
Yeah, it is not. It is literally a high-paced FPS. You know, like one of the first of its, like, if not, like, really the first major one. There's nothing horror outside of the, I don't know, I guess, like, the visual design. And that's just like gross demons.
And hell and shit. Like, it can be eerie, sure, but I would never consider it horror or terrifying.
No.
And I can't believe that person had the gall to name their video that.
I mean, how hard can we really be talking with, like, the
Yeah, but ours was funny. I can almost guarantee that video with that title, it was 100% serious.
I probably have to agree with that.
I didn't watch it, so I have no idea, but
Can only assume.
I'm willing to bet money that it was serious.
Why it is so frightening. Yeah, I don't know.
I was squirting out brown stains into my little diaper while playing this mod.
Here's an accurate wireframe visualization of what was happening in my colon.
Duty was hitting the wall.
That would be like
when I
scary.
saw that big dog in the white room, I got down on all fours and shot liquid ass all over my fucking room.
When I was one of the 1,500 people who watched the Bender Hours review of myhouse.wad, when I saw them punch that German Shepherd with no hesitation, I personally got on all fours and started screaming until a neighbor filed a noise complaint with the local sheriff. Look at pussies. But at the same time, like, there's like nothing new, like what those guys are doing. Like, okay, yeah, it was like obviously it was designed in a way to be like unsettling and spooky, I guess, but you're always gonna have those YouTubers that are gonna take every fucking flavor of the month horror thing and explain why it's like, it's horror perfected.
Thing.
Yeah, this is like the perfection of the horror genre. You know, it's like fucking like Five Nights at Freddy's 8. No one gives a shit.
Is it really that good when the whole thing is based off of a book? Fucking House of Leaves.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a horror book about a guy who buys a house and the interior keeps changing and he can't escape it or some shit like that. I don't know. I never read the book, but I know of it. It's an old book too. It's
honestly,
probably over 20 years old by this point.
Right, the joke's that buying a house nowadays might as well be the horror story.
I'm just glad we were able to sell that lot and get out of that trap.
Isn't that the crazy part? It was such a terrifying game, but there was a realtor that actually purchased that property.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been all bad. So have you noticed an uptick? I don't even remember if I've this. This is something I'm probably gonna say so many times over these fucking episodes because I'm just we talk about so much shit on and off the bender that remembering what I've said in between is getting to be a huge pain in the ass. Especially since I'm not writing it down as I should be. Have I discussed the uptick in Teslas, just being driven around the road?
We did have a whole thing about the self-driving car that's trying to kill you or whatever. But
yeah, I remember
we didn't talk about the uptick in Teslas. We did not talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you personally seen that on the road at all?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them.
I feel like I've seen a huge uptick in Teslas, and there was supposedly supposed to be a whole thing where people weren't buying them, but I guess that's just in just in
Elon Musk is a fascist.
Yeah.
He's just a shit talker on Twitter. I don't get why people get mad. I don't like Elon Musk, but to call him a fucking racist, fascist, whatever, he really isn't.
No. And I guess somehow these people who, because I wouldn't say either of us live in particularly rich neighborhoods by any measure, but the fact that people are somehow, just going about their business getting Teslas in this economy is nothing short of suspicious. I don't know, what kind of...
I think most of them are because I've seen old people driving Teslas, so some of them is old money, but I also see a lot of really young people, so I'm assuming that they just have rich parents that just buy them shit.
Well, obviously I'm not gonna do any doxing or any shit talking here, but let's just say that I am aware of a house in somewhat of a vicinity that they are definitely nowhere near a rich family, yet they have a Tesla park there pretty often, and it's definitely gotta be someone in their family. So I'm gonna guess they're just a bunch of dumbasses that are just taking out loans to buy Teslas for the clout, and they just don't care. This will ruin this. How much even is a base model Tesla? Fucking 60 grand or more? Gotta be.
I have no idea. I haven't bothered looking.
Just so stupid. And those obviously aren't even the self-driving models. That's gonna be even more expensive. Do they come in any color that isn't white?
Yeah, I usually see them in colors that aren't white. Do you only see them in white?
I've only seen white Teslas.
I've seen red and blue. I've seen a few different colors. There's a few people that drive them to my fucking gym. I'm always kind of why would you drive such a fucking expensive car to the gym?
I don't know. Same reason why people go around with huge gaudy ass shoes and get their cars. It's just don't care. It's gonna blow all this fucking money on stupid shit. Especially now, in an age where I think fewer and fewer people really care anymore. I don't know. But I guess when it comes to, I'm not gonna replay the whole dangerous self-driving cars bit, but it kind of made me think the other day, how come self-driving planes haven't taken off sooner, or self-driving boats?
I mean, planes pretty much are self-flying at this point.
But
really, the only time the pilots really do anything too much is during landing and takeoff at this point. Pretty much everything else is automated.
And that's what kind of drives my point here, because landing and takeoff, that's the most important part. And obviously as a pilot,
and it has the most variables too.
Yeah,
so you really need a human behind the wheel. But
does it have more variables than the average street in urbanized America? That's my question, because the way I see it is, when you're a pilot on the runway, you are relaying information to the tower. They're relaying it back to you, telling you what tower, what runway to take, how long it's going to be, where to pull up to. And obviously, the only way you're going to know how close you are to the runway is a bunch of dials, because you can hardly see out that fucking slim-ass window. So I figured, if you just had, like, a commercial jetliner that had a bunch of cameras at the front, similar to, like, how self-driving cars work, and was able to analyze, the exact distance from the landing gear to the ground, I feel like that'd probably be a better investment. Like, obviously, you're, being laying off a fucking pilot, maybe. I mean, there'll always have to be someone in there. But
it probably would be a better investment, but I think the huge thing would probably be like consumers being scared of an completely automated plane like that.
That's true.
And I guess it would take probably a bit more training, because they would have to actually interpret, the messages that are being sent from the watchtower and everything like that. And I guess the big fear would probably be that once it's, say it hits a turbulence or whatever as it's coming in for the landing, maybe they're afraid that AI would overcorrect too much and fuck up or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I just think overall it's probably like a safer an investment than like self-driving cars would be, because people are already like naturally aware about like autopilot, and for the most part they're like, I really think there's less dangerous variables on a fucking runway than there are on the average road. And same thing with like boats, but I mean, we're gonna say something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was about to say it probably was about the same for trains. Like, I wonder why we haven't done it with trains yet, because really, why do you need a fucking conductor at this point? But then I remember that this is America, so
yeah, like ass
the fucking
infrastructure.
train network is just gonna never be fixed up like that.
So in that case, how about like ships? Obviously not every like little boat that you're taking out needs to have like an AI camera hookup, and obviously naturally like electronics exposed to the elements are not going to be, too easy. But I feel like if you had like a huge barge, like a cruise liner, like wouldn't it be better to have like a camera AI system so that you don't have like a captain that's, gonna forget something, because naturally a ship that big is gonna take, several like minutes, if not maybe even like up to like a half hour to make like a massive correctional change to its movement. You know what I mean?
And you could also just straight up have the AI captain just hooked up to a satellite,
yeah,
and use fucking stars to like guide its way.
Yeah, it would be so much better. So I mean, but they're willing to sink like billions of dollars and they're just like replacing people at like a McDonald's. But imagine like the trillions that would probably be saved if you were able to automate like, the fucking transatlantic routes.
I don't even know how much fucking boat captains actually get paid. You would be saving a lot of money though, firing every fucking pilot from a plane. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Like, pilots get shit tons of money. If you automated planes to that degree, these plane companies, these jetliners and everything, they would be saving so fucking much. Firing all of those guys.
And that also started making me think, is why have we never heard about, like, how come self-driving cars have been like in like the public eye, I guess, for the past 20 years, like always talked about, but self-driving planes haven't? And the only reason I can think of is just because we were all kind of grown up to expect flying cars in the future. So like we never even bothered to think about like the evolution of the plane. And now like we have neither today, so like we really got fucked over.
Instead of getting rid of the pilots or setting up those seats so that the person in front of you can fart directly onto your face.
Yeah, that is fucking despicable. Like, I understand the, the rationale behind it. Obviously, you ever like cram more people into a plane, more money.
Packing them in like fucking sardines.
Like sardines.
I'm surprised at this rate they don't just unveil the fucking like 15th century slave ship setup where like you're fucking laying on top of each other.
Everyone's laying on the ground, chains up next to each other. My God.
There's a wooden plank above you with the next row of people on it.
Just awful. Like, there had to have been a better system than that. Like someone had to have raised concerns in there and saying like, you're gonna get like someone's gonna fart in your fucking face. Like, it's already bad enough, like, smelling like some disgusting fucker, but now like you're right at, if you're unlucky, you be in the bottom bitch, you're gonna be the first one to know if someone
I
in
just
front of
hope
you's ripping
it's,
ass.
I just hope it's a hot woman with a big butt in front of me.
I hope it's a real plumper of a woman who just got done eating a like 4-bean
It's a
burrito.
big fat pig.
Hope it's a big fat guy. You know what they should do?
Imagine having King Ass Ripper be the guy in front of you.
Ugh.
We should probably stop that line of thought
Yeah, we
real
gotta-
quick. I feel like we've been talking about him way too much lately.
Yeah, but let's keep them in the back lanes for now. But we want to be really stupid for that that seating style. Is that what if there was like an option to have like a really stupid democratic system for like all of the lines in that seat where you could vote to like swap around the orientation of the chairs. So it's like one of those like carnival rides where it's like the rotating seats. And it would move like a Ferris wheel. Like if you're the one sitting bottom bitch behind the guy's ass, the whole thing swings around and now you're the ones at the top. And maybe like every hour it swaps. Like you can be the top bitch, like farting in the guy's face. That's
Are
like
these like rows supposed to be designed so they're already like as high up in the plane as they could get? You'd have to like make the plane taller to account for this mechanism.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's only you can only make planes so large before you have to start making runways bigger. Like remember in it's gonna be a really stupid thing to reference. Remember in Fallout 4? I know it's asking a lot.
Yeah.
Remember like the gigantic fucking jumbo jets you can find crashed? That
No.
were like a mile wide.
I'm gonna be completely honest. No,
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Well, they were in the game, and they were just gigantic. And it's really stupid, too, because I'm pretty sure you can, like, find airfields, and they are nowhere near... Well, obviously, there's, like, the major one at the Brotherhood base. They are nowhere near large enough to fucking hold a jumbo jet that's, like, 5 times the width of a 747. So, I mean, it's another case where they just don't give a shit, but that's like an old other shit-talking Bethesda moment.
I keep seeing this thing on Facebook that's like, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's like a proposed idea for like a nuclear powered air cruise. It's like a plane cruise. It's so stupid. And I don't know if you've seen that at all.
No.
And it's literally just an artist's mock-up of like what it could look like. Just a giant plane the size of a cruise ship that's apparently nuclear power that's never gonna fucking be made because that thing would be impossible.
I looked it up. Designers imagine a nuclear-powered sky cruise. Is that what this is?
I think so. And like certain outlets are trying to propose it as if it's like a real thing that's being made.
Yeah, instead of just being like something someone designed and put up on like ArtStation. Dumb shits. Nuclear-powered sky cruise. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I'll be like, people will be pissing blood talking about like nuclear-powered, how dangerous it is. Then every media outlet's like, wow, the nuclear-powered cruise.
Yeah.
Fucking dickheads.
Even though any fucking fission-powered vehicle is going to be way more dangerous than any power plant could ever be.
Because if you're not shielding that engine, you are going to literally be spraying radiation wherever you go. Which, I mean, I guess that's, like, kind of funny. Maybe you can, like, keep the plane like Air Force One, where it could stay up in the air indefinitely as long as, like, it's refueled. And just keep spraying radiation and killing everybody while you're in this, like, wobbly-ass, like, 5-star flying cruise.
What are they supposed to get? What are they supposed to do with the spent fuel rods
Drop them.
in that situation?
treat them exactly like you would, like, waste from a plane. Just drop it. Someone else's problem.
Have a fucking chute that they put the fuel rod onto and just let it fall somewhere random.
How bad could it possibly be? Or, I mean,
We'd have so many cases. What was that like stupid thing that happened? Was that in Russia?
I think it was in
Or was it
Georgia. I think it was in Georgia, the
Where
country.
they found the fucking fuel rod and they like slept on it.
Yeah, and like all but one of them died, I think.
Idiots.
I guess to be fair, if you were like a fucking hunter-gatherer, like whoever the hell lives in this, like the country of Georgia, I bet you probably wouldn't know a thing about nuclear energy.
Georgia isn't that like undeveloped.
Is it
They
not?
would have I mean, Sochi was part of Georgia until Russia annexed it, and that was apparently a good enough city to hold a fucking Olympic game in. Georgia was also part of the fucking Soviet Union before it fell apart.
Yeah, but
That's
they're
where
all
Stalin came from.
can't be too good. Considering they've had, I don't think, any noteworthy developments that haven't come from them being conquered.
But I mean, they still they're developed enough that they had a nuclear power plant, so like
Wasn't their own doing. Couldn't have been. Just like,
they're still keeping it running apparently.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to dispose of uranium rods like everyone else has figured out apparently.
Like, just no option to bury it, I guess. It can't just, maybe pawn it off on some other country, make it their problem. It's like, that would be kind of funny. Just like, because that whole region, you could probably just like get away with anything as long as you're like flying it over. Just like put it in a fucking lead box and like fly it over like Tajikistan and drop it over like their vast expanse and just like hope no one like makes it an international incident.
Like, don't even put parachutes on it. Just let it like break open when it hits the ground.
Yeah. I mean, like, isn't it just like a metal rod? Like, what's gonna happen when like, it breaks open? It's just like generic like glowing green goo gonna come out like a fucking Kinder
the
egg.
lead box that it's
The
in.
lead box. I was gonna
Like,
say
the lead box breaks open and the radiation gets out.
it's not so it's not too much. Those rods aren't too big.
Pretty sure one of those something stands in Central Asia is like a failed state right now. Like it's falling apart or some shit.
Central Asia.
It might actually be a viable option to just drop your unwanted waste in their fucking country. Like, what are they gonna do about it?
Nothing. I don't know if there's like anything. Like, if you were like a developed country, is there even anything you could do with like a spent rod of like
no,
uranium?
we still don't know what to do with them.
It's absolutely
the
nothing.
only option we have right now is to dispose of them, is to just bury them underground under like 50 feet of concrete. We still haven't figured out if there's anything that can actually be done with them that isn't dangerous.
Have we tried like shooting them into space?
You know, like
treat it like
how
Gamera.
expensive it is to launch anything into space.
Yeah, but think about how many rods you could fit like onto like a space shuttle. That had to be a decent amount.
I mean, how heavy is uranium?
Probably pretty
How
heavy.
dense is it?
I'd imagine quite dense. I'm just saying, like, you gotta, like, it's like in the first, like, Gamera movie, like, that's the whole joke, like, they, like, managed to get him in a rocket and just, like, try to make him someone else's problem. So, just do that with, like, your plutonium rod. Just get rid of it. Set it on a fucking collision course somewhere else. And, I guess the only downside would be, like, what if, like, those rods ended up being, like, gasoline, like, over the years? Like, we were just, like, getting rid of it, but it turns out we could have been using it for something else. That's gonna be a pain in the ass to dig all that shit back up, like, once we get that tech.
I was laughing before because I was still thinking of that Russia situation, just dropping the uranium rods on one of those Central Asian nations, and it hit me that, like, all of those nations are part of Russia's sphere of influence. Like, they're, like, considered allies. It's like Russia would just be fucking over the only people that have their back right now.
I don't know. You just have to compile a list of countries that, like, are relatively neutral and have absolutely nothing that they can do to stop you. Which has got to be a decent amount. Probably at least, like, there's got to be, like, at least 75 states in the world where you could
probably, like, all of sub-Saharan Africa, like...
Yeah.
Do any of those nations have an air force?
They do. It's just, like, they might have, like, 3 functional, like, Cold War jets.
Like MiGs.
Yeah, that's about it. Maybe, like, 1 helicopter, and everything else is, like, gonna be in storage. It's like, can't afford to fix that shit, let alone fly it for too long. Meanwhile, you got the U.S. where you got pilots that are like actively flying planes longer than they should because they have like quotas to fill on like jet fuel. Because we just have so much fucking money, we literally have to like get rid of it just to like justify like certain budgets.
Fucking assholes. Why not just like sell it to these air companies for passenger flight?
I don't know.
Like, wasn't there a huge thing like a few months ago of them like running out of fuel, or maybe like a few years ago?
If that was a thing,
Like,
I'm not
a
aware
huge
of it.
jet fuel problem.
I did not know about that. If that's the case, I don't know what it takes.
I think it was when the whole like the gas uptick started when Russia invaded Ukraine. Like I think planes like plane tickets got way more expensive because companies were running out of jet fuel.
I'm sure all these scummy bastards have something they gained by like scalping the jet fuel market. I don't know what it takes to make jet fuel, so it's not like I can weigh in too much on that. I don't know like what the economic like state is of producing that shit. But I'm gonna assume it's fairly intricate.
I like to imagine they dig it out of the ground just like normal gasoline.
Yeah, just like jet fuel. It's just completely natural forming. It's like
This happens to be the best thing for these planes.
opposed to everything else. Just think about how much like it really sucks ass to have to field anything nowadays. Like back in like once like air forces finally became a thing after World War One, and like once you actually were able to train pilots, just how easy it was to field like 1,000 planes. And nowadays, like if you could field 100, you're probably like a fucking first world country.
It's kind of crazy too, because those planes from back then, like World War II planes and shit, they were expensive for their time. Like you work up the price, and of course, like it looks low by today's standards. But when you adjust it for inflation, like they were pretty damn expensive. But they still pump them out at incredible numbers.
And
we can't even like try to match that today.
I mean, it makes sense too, because obviously making a jet engine, especially a domestic one, is very, very fucking difficult. There are few countries on Earth that have ever even like done it. Like, which
is weird because you think they would have streamlined it by now, considering how long jet technology has been around for.
Yeah, just that back then you made a piston-driven plane. Making those engines was obviously with like 1940s tools was going to be still fairly difficult. And that's probably why the cost was so expensive then. But you could still make it. But the production value from now, if you wanted to make a dual engined jet fighter coated with fucking stealth paint that was like properly fitted to be like a 5th generation plane, you're gonna be making like 20 a year. And that's like if you're America. Just not happening. At least with ships, you could still like kind of pump them out if you have like a good production line.
You always be like Russia and show off your 5th generation fighters and then never actually make any.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with tanks. Like world leader in tank production, and then become like the world leader in tank losses. Crazy. And now we're at the point where like South Korea is like gearing up to be a major fucking arms exporter. It's crazy.
It's cool. I hope I get to buy one of those South Korean tanks because I actually think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, I got like a Samsung fucking made battle tank. Still can't believe they put the Samsung logo like on the side of it, like while it's on the production line. It's like so stupid.
Did they?
Yeah, there's like pictures you can find where they'd have that. Like show them at trade shows with their logo.
I guess somebody had to compete with Toyota. With all like the fucking technicals they sell to just random groups in Africa.
Yeah. How come more like billion-dollar corporations and like international companies don't just like start delving into like really stupid but profitable other chains of commerce? Like how come McDonald's doesn't have like a military division? Is there anything legally stopping them from like hiring like a military R&D? and like selling weapons to like Europe?
I don't think so. They could, have a subsidiary because right now they're in the food and service industry. I guess they could have a subsidiary that just deals in arms.
Yeah, because like Samsung, like they're just like electronics, and obviously that's like enough of a general vagueness, I guess, to produce like military electronics and hardware. But I would really like to know if there's anything stopping like someone like McDonald's or like anyone else who has like a fuck ton of money from just doing that. Like, how come Google isn't just like making weapons openly and selling them? You think anyone would like care any less? People just like hate them the same as they normally do. It's not like they give a shit about their image.
I think they do. Google really tries to sell itself as like, I guess like a humanitarian group that cares about people's livelihoods or some shit.
Yeah, but the way I see it is that if they like still have people that would like honestly defend them as like a let's face it, like multi-trillion-dollar fucking business today, they could sell weapons and still convince those people that they're good. So like it would not matter. They would just say like, we're exporting like, arms for the free world to defend themselves from tyranny. Meanwhile, like like the Google tank is like killing like 100 people in like a fucking like military coup in Nigeria or something.
Meanwhile, like Google is funding politicians that specifically want to limit arms sales.
Yeah. Damn. I think that'd be like a really stupid thing, and that would play into the whole like, that'd be like a fucking like cyberpunk ass situation, just like the corporations are the ones like dealing in military. There's gotta be something.
They already are.
Yeah, but like that overtly, to the point where like Google would have like a fucking flagship, they have like a cruiser docked outside of like New York City, starting like a headquarters or something. I would assume they obviously can't go that far, at least not in America. But I still want to know if they could just like make weapons and sell them somewhere else, because that would be hysterical.
I mean, I think that they could. I mean, when you consider that, the M1 Abrams is made by Chrysler, who also make cars.
That's true, but they have a reason to, because they've had like 80 years of designing like military hardware. Fucking like Volkswagen and like Mitsubishi. They got like their starts making like military hardware. So like I don't know if they really count. If I'm talking like just like a multi-billion-dollar like corporation that's really not known for anything other than just like their face value, like food service or like Walmart, just like distribution service. It's like, how come they don't just try to delve into everything? Like, wouldn't that be like its own other thing? Like, you wouldn't even have like a monopoly anymore. Like, what would you even call it when every corporation just fucking
does everything?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you would call that.
I wonder if that term has even ever been like discussed before. Like a corporation that dabbles in every line of like human entertainment, necessity, construction, and they all just like battle over like their services. It's like, oh, fucking like TGI Fridays, did my patio work last week. It's like, no, man. Fucking, like, Quiznos is making a comeback.
That's how Quiznos survives. They completely rebrand. They start up a whole new division doing fucking yard work or some shit.
Doing yard work and, like, also on the side making landmines for, like, and selling them to, like, Myanmar for their civil war. Quiznos bomb.
The fucking landmines are really considered war crimes now. They just openly do that.
Well, here's what would happen. It's like 2035, and Quiznos is being tried by like an international like war tribunal, like selling weapons of war crimes to like third world nations. But all these corporations, like kind of seeing the writing on the wall that like they're gonna be next, they would all join together and like force the United Nations hand by basically saying that like they are strong enough in their own right that they must be forced to sign the Geneva Convention if like any of that's gonna apply to them. And like they win. So since they're not Geneva signers,
like Burger King is selling fucking like napalm flamethrowers. Yeah, because they got like the fire grills in their fucking place.
they got like Zippo boats going along like the river. Oh man, I don't know if that'd be too good of a world to live in. I mean, I guess what else are they gonna be doing with like these billions of dollars in assets? That's like
really fuck us over. I mean, we're already like headed that way anyway.
Yeah.
A world where everything is just owned by some fucking billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah, so like it makes you think if the world's just moving, like they're obviously trying to move towards a world of automation with like corporations that can, you know, deal less and less with actually facing the law and justice. What's to stop them from just saying like we could be like state holders? We can like lay claim to land like the fucking government does. Like there's obviously huge swaths of territory in the United States that are owned by the federal government. What if there was like other ones that were, you know, just like held de facto by fucking Google? And they're willing to guard them with like their own soldiers, like waving the fucking Google flag. That would be pretty bad. That would be like the next stage of like politics. Like moving past the, you know, like the feudal system was seen like, you know, it was good for its time. But then once people were able to see that like, you know, modern state holding, turns out if you just be like a lying son of a bitch, you could do a lot more shit with your people. And then just moving on to this stage where, you know, I have so much money that my great-great-great-grandkids are never gonna see, like, poverty in their lives. Let's take over the world.
This is pretty much just what would happen if a libertarian government was ever achieved.
But the sad part is that, like, at that point, it's not even, like, libertarianism. It's just, it's like, it's a corporatocracy, like, whatever the fuck you'd call it.
But it's what would happen if libertarian was achieved.
Yeah.
Because, you know, every libertarian is like, oh, you know, my non-aggression principle will stop these companies from just taking over and becoming the government.
Yeah.
Now that's not what's gonna happen.
No.
These corporations will just become the government.
Like libertarianism,
if there's no regulation on them.
like libertarianism and anarchy are just the same fucking things. They're just stepping stones until like an actual state forms anyway. You're never gonna hold one or the other for like too long. You know, it's nice to say like, oh, everyone's just gonna be gun holding, you know, like jerking off in their fucking mansions with like, you know, like the whole like everyone's gonna nuke, so like everyone's gonna be cool. So
it's just until like the fucking marauders show up.
Yeah.
And steal your shit, and then you have to give tribute to someone else to fucking like protect you from the marauders.
Yeah. It's like Longhorn Steakhouse launches one of those fucking drones that killed like Soleimani, that launches like a singular fletchet that takes you out before you're able to launch your nuke. And then they lay claim to your house. Like the idea, it's like the restaurants that do it, even though there's probably like way more institutions that like make more sense. It's just way more funny.
They finally get revenge for all the lack of tipping that's been happening.
Oh yeah. There would be genocides.
And we already see the way that, you know, Applebees is going. They're just becoming a complete totalitarian state with that, like, 2 for $30 or whatever it is now.
That'll probably be the cheapest option in, like, 5 years.
They just have to ruin a good thing. Because, you know, going back to what I said before, you know, people calling Elon Musk a Nazi now. Whoever's running Applebees is just a complete fucking Hitler bastard. Fucking ruining the 2 for $20 deal.
Funny is also like as if it's like necessarily their fault. Like the value of the dollar is plummeting. And, I go to, like, Apple headquarters, and, it's like, "Hey, Adolf, you feel that in the air, don't you?" He's like, "Someone's shit-talking my business." 2 for 30,000 will go up next Monday.
2 for 1 billion Reichsmarks.
Damn. I'm sure that existed
It's
somewhere.
like the Weimar Republic.
I mean, that was back in the day when they were had so much they were like paving their fucking walls with it. Who knows? So I don't think inflation's gonna like get any better in the United States until we start getting like ridiculous Zimbabwe ass like money conversions. Who knows? But it's not looking good. And I don't know how long we can talk like Trump and pretend everything's okay when we're gonna be starving too hard to make the Bender Hour episodes.
Can you believe this, people? The Biden, Sleepy Joe, he's ruining the economy and he's ending the Bender Hour. Can you believe that, people? Can you believe this? Biden is ruining the food supply, and the Bender Hour, they can't feel their tummies, they can't record.
The chances of someone at a Trump rally recognizing the Bender Hour right now would be, like, miraculous. It's like
But could you imagine if Trump gave us a shout out?
That would
That'd be
that would definitely do wonders.
just out of nowhere, even though we've only ever shit talked him.
Yeah, I mean, he's on at least I think 5 of our thumbnails as of this recording. But I don't think anyone has like talked of him in a positive light whatsoever. I don't think we've talked to like any politician in a positive light.
In the fucking AI episode, we like openly laughed at him getting assassinated.
To be fair, he brought that on himself in that one.
That is true.
The world was telling him no. Should have known.
What about when he went into the Carboniferous?
And that one's up in the air.
That one was not his fault. We still laughed at it.
Yeah. Anybody with a brain would laugh at that. I think that transcends like humor. Maybe one day we'll find out who shot him, but until then, it'll really be a mystery. I've been shot! Hearing a gunshot go off. Fuck that. No. I guess it's the idea that like, he would actually like start eating things from the Carboniferous, like knowing his diet now. I think he'd probably like starve
12 Cokes a day.
12 Cokes a day and just nothing but like fucking McDonald's or whatever else it was.
Now, was that one thing about the McDonald's that neither one of us could believe? What was that?
I don't remember. It was something stupid. Like he was eating McDonald's like 3 times a day or something insane.
It wasn't like he was like taking the bread off of it or some shit like that.
I don't remember that. Taking the bread off.
Like he was taking the buns off the sandwiches or some shit like that.
Oh, I think he did say that. Like he didn't eat. Yeah, he didn't eat the fucking bread on the sandwiches, and he didn't like eat crust on the pizza. I think that's what it was. So he's just like eating around the burger.
He's like Squidward, taking like that little tiny nibble of the Krabby Patty, like doing everything he can to avoid the bread. On a slightly related topic, I think it's time, because it was mentioned, to shit talk anyone who doesn't eat the crust on pizza.
Yeah. Like I'm not, if it's like a shitty pizza and like the crust is like hard, then I'm probably not gonna eat the crust. But in every other situation, I'm gonna eat the crust on the pizza.
How often are you eating pizzas like that?
Not very often, thankfully. And, it should be the case for us, but it does happen, like, very rarely. But other than that, I will eat the crust.
Just complete, like, child shit to avoid the crust. Like, it's part of the pizza, you gotta eat it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You gotta eat that fucking crust if you're gonna eat the pizza. It's an incomplete meal, you're wasting it.
And, they claim that Trump doesn't eat the crust, but there was that one commercial where he starts eating it, like, crust first.
Like, crust first,
Yeah. You think, like, the second they stopped airing, they, like, spit it all out.
This is horrible.
This is fucking horrible. Fuck pizza.
Throws it face down onto the floor.
Wasn't
Wasn't that commercial, like, in his office?
Probably.
What is this, stuffed crust pizza? Maybe I'll give it a shot. It's fucking disgusting.
Didn't
I hate Pizza Hut.
Didn't Gorbachev, like, he was in, like, a fucking commercial for
He
pizza?
was in a Domino's commercial.
Yeah, actually, let's say it was a Pizza Hut. That's what it was.
It was Pizza Hut?
Yeah,
I thought it was Domino's.
1997 Pizza Hut commercial. You should do that more often. Get, like,
Have a president in a Pizza Hut commercial.
like, heads of state to, like, get these, like, little places going. Well, not too little, but in, like, relation to them. Like, imagine how well that would do. Like, obviously, no one today is gonna get, like, Trump to
McDonald's. McDonald's got Obama in that one commercial.
Yeah.
God bless Israel. Or the big America.
Like, whoever that, like, fucking, like, eldritch demon was. In the Obama skin suit.
The Obama doppelganger.
You are not Barack Obama.
Die, demon.
He just, like, he, like, puts his finger over his mouth, like, shh. He takes the burger. I don't want this. Just chucks it.
Fooled all of Secret Service into thinking he was Obama.
Thank God for the Secret Service.
For being completely incompetent.
Being totally blind. Oh, yeah. So, like I was saying, obviously,
God bless McDonald's. Paying me to be in this commercial.
it's like, obviously, you're not going to have, like I said, like, Trump being featured in any commercials now due to his, like, legal dilemmas. But, you know.
Are they indicting me? What's going on? I don't know what's happening.
No one told me about this.
Nobody told me.
But if you, I don't know, if you got, like, Joe Biden and you're actually able to get him to say, like, one line, or at least, like, get them to give you legal permission to, like, use his voice, like, have AI, like, say something, that'd be really stupid.
I'm so...
Like, just
I don't
imagine.
think you could ever get Biden to, like, actually read a script. I
Yeah.
don't think he's capable of it.
It would just have to be, like, they, like, give you permission to use his voice and, like, have AI, like, say something. But just imagine, like, you got, like, a commercial, and it's, like, Taco Bell or something, and he's like, I'm so fucking hungry. That's just, like, how it starts out. I'd love it. I'd love a Taco Bell.
I'd love a chalupa.
I love a chalupa. That rhymes with fupa. You know what that means? That's a fat upper pussy area. And then it just cuts like that. Ding! That would probably be like an insanely well supported commercial.
Pull into that Taco Bell drive-thru, give me a chalupa. And, like, they pull up to the drive-thru and there's like 20 cars in the drive-thru because there's always 20 cars in every fucking Taco Bell drive-thru in America. Well, what the fuck? Why is this line so long?
He goes beep beep and he like steps on it, so it's pushing everyone out of the way.
Why is he driving?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we know he has, like, that Cat in the Hat as car where, like, Secret Service has, like, another steering wheel on the side. So, like, maybe, like, he thinks he's driving. Out of the way,
They should have, like, a
fuckers.
deployable steering wheel in President Biden's cabin in the back in case he ever needs to take control.
Here's my fucking chalupa.
I was getting flashbacks to like that report about Trump trying to take control of the limo.
We gotta go.
Trump attacking the fucking Secret Service driver.
So,
I gotta get my chalupa, come on.
so it's been like 2 months since like the Biden commercial aired, and Taco Bell's seen like an insane like stock share increase over like the third quarter.
Their market share is they've overtaken McDonald's.
Or just from like that one commercial alone. So they have to have a follow-up. They decided to go like a little more avant-garde with this one. So it's just Biden staring at the camera, smiling a little bit. He's like kind of blinking a little irregularly, like a lizard. Like one eye after the
one
other.
eye like goes a little bit quicker than the other one.
A little bit. And then he just goes, Taco Bell, and he picks up one of the little packets of hot sauce, opens it, lifts his head up, like pulls his eyes open like he's gonna put in a contact lens, and he starts pouring it in. And like cuts off like the second it touches his eye and he screams, it like cuts short, like ding. He puts it in like, oh, and it cuts. That could be too bad. So Biden just has to experiment a little bit. He's got to, because once he's done being president, he's got to get the House is gonna like keep his relevancy.
Yeah, he's got to make his mark on pop culture, so that way he's not lost to history.
Yeah, like George Bush Sr.
Or fucking Junior while we're at it.
Yeah, 9/11. I don't think there's been a single like forgettable president since like George Bush Sr. Everyone's had something.
I mean, you can't forget old Bushy. You can't forget old Bushy. In fact, speaking of Bush, I haven't shaved in 70 years.
Speaking of Bush, look at this, people. Take a look at this.
Oh,
like that's the sound it makes when he pulls his pants down.
It's just there's no visible penis in the foliage.
I can't even see it down there. Look at that. Look at that. His pubes are completely black, even though like he's naturally blonde.
Yeah, that's my unnatural pube color.
I don't even dye it, people. It just came out like that.
Okay, Trump has promised a full fucking like acquittal, or like whatever it's called.
I promise a full Chick-fil-A commercial once I get past these lawsuits.
He'll be totally acquitted, but he has to like go through this process where, like they hook him up, completely like belt him, almost like one of those like gurneys that you'd have like at a lethal injection. They built him up to like a wall that's completely a concrete wall that's rooted in the ground, and they have the machine that destroys everything latch onto his pubic hair. It's like he won't be pulled in, but it's gonna rip every pube off of him. And like just all of a sudden it's like it's like fucking 8 a.m. in like Manhattan, and every TV just goes black for a second and then tunes into this.
Like Trump ass naked, completely strapped to a wall, screaming as his pubes get sheared off.
Get pulled out into clumps. His head is like just like slamming left and right. He's trying to like do anything.
His face, he's completely overridden the orange hue. He is fucking red. He's like crimson.
And imagine like everyone on the ground is like kind of looking up, like traffic stopped a little bit, and the second it's
like
all
they're
done,
showing it at like Times Square,
Yeah.
like every fucking screen at Times Square.
And imagine like after like 3 minutes and it's all done, Trump's just like, and then like, all the feed cuts, goes back to commercials, and everyone just goes along with their business.
The camera zooms in on his crotch to find his embarrassingly small penis. It's like covered it, like the whole area is red, and he's like bleeding in some spot.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I need a doctor.
Mr. Doctor.
Now that I got my pubes off, I think it's time for my Chick-fil-A commercial, people. I think it's time to go to that Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, just time for the Chick-fil-A commercial, you know. And then, like, you know, so you know,
Personally,
so you go over to like the most, you know, most of the list on Wikipedia, like most disliked YouTube videos, and you move over to, like, you know, number 1, you find the Trump Chick-fil-A commercial, and you press on, and it starts out, and he's like, "Wow, awful chicken! I hate Chick-fil-A. This place sucks my balls. Watch this," and he just like grabs the like reaches into the garbage and pulls out like a half-eaten Chick-fil-A sandwich. He looks at it, he like winces a little bit, then he starts eating it like a pig. Turns face to the camera. Awful.
he spits it out onto the camera. The only reason I come here is because every Chick-fil-A is just staffed by the fattest ass white woman ever. That's a fact, people. That's a
That's a Trump fact that you could count on.
If you go to your Chick-fil-A and there isn't a pog working the counter, you can sue me.
And then, like, the rest of the commercial is supplemented by, like, amateur footage of people, like, recording on their cell phones as, like, Trump jumps over the counter and starts, like, molesting the woman. Come here! Come here!
And then, like the footage also shows, like, the part where, like, the police come in and, like, have to tase Trump.
Yeah, like, the guy recording, like, turns back, and he's like, "No fucking way, man!" And, like, you know, like, turns it back to Trump. And then it, like
get that fucking camera out of my face.
Like, you can't see, like, over the counter. You just, like a big commotion. And then all of a sudden, you just hear Trump go, "Ah!" And, like, 2 gunshots ring out. And, like, the woman gets up.
Put the knife down! Put the knife down! No! Get the fuck away from me!
The woman gets up. She's, like, crying, shaking, and she has, like, the gun in her hands.
She was packing heat the whole time.
Ready for, like, a Trump-based contingency. It's the idea that, like, someone that, like, high up the political power pole just being able to not help themselves but, like, see a woman just instantly dive over and start molesting her is, like, really retarded. Like, pure, like, animalistic instinct.
Grab him by the pussy.
Grab her by the pussy. Grab her by the hair. Smash her face onto the countertop.
Get shot by the police.
Trump goes over. He's like, "I always wanted to do this." He, like, puts his head underneath, like, the soda fountain, and he, like, pulls on the ice thing, but he, like, accidentally pulled the dry ice one, and it starts going into his mouth. The first, like, puck.
Big chunk goes right into his mouth, and he instantly swallows.
It's like a hockey puck-sized chunk, and it slips right down his throat. He, like, looks at the camera for a second while it's, like, in his throat. You clearly see the outline of, like, a hockey puck, and he's just, like, swallows it really hard. I don't know how long it would take for him to feel the effects of that. That can't be good.
He'd be, like, instant pain.
Like, is that
Like,
fatal?
that shit's cold enough that, like, it kills, like, any, like, cell wall it touches.
The fucking dry ice machine.
Why is there a dry ice machine?
I don't know, but, you know, that almost brings up, like, a really stupid idea. Like, obviously, like, vending machines, like, it was specifically, like, soda fountains are getting, like, you know, they've gotten, like, really good in the past 10 years or longer, because now they have, like, the ones where you have, like, fucking 50 drinks in them. Like, what if they just, like, had really stupid options? Like, fucking, like, how, like, Bean Boozled had, like, all those disgusting flavors for jelly beans. Like, what if they just, like, stocked, like, piss and cum and, like, motor oil, like, brake fluid?
There's, like, wasting space inside of this thing for drinks that no one is going to ever take.
Well, what happens is, you know, there's, like, people like Trump and, you know, there's, like, YouTubers. They're like, today I'm officially trying out the disgusting fucking soda machine challenge. I nominate Donald Trump.
Somebody nominated me for the disgusting soda challenge, so let's try this out.
He's like,
come.
he's like,
that's not disgusting. Why is that even here? I love that stuff.
he's like out. He's like next to the vending machine, like as if it was like the ADL challenge or like whatever it was, like the fucking ID. What was it? The
ice bucket challenge.
Yeah.
The ADL challenge.
Like, what was it called? It was like the ACL.
I can't even make jokes about that, man. I just have to say that.
It's okay. And he's like,
Thank you for Big Boy Balls 97 for for nominating me to be the next member of the disgusting soda machine challenge.
it's like pressing the buttons.
He's
just like he puts the cup under.
Right. This is gonna be the easiest challenge of my life, people.
And he sweeps the cup out of the spot with his hand, and he just puts his head underneath. And since it's like cum, it starts coming out like really like slow, and it's like yellow.
It's like ice cream coming out of a fucking soft serve machine.
Yeah, and of course Trump's going like making it like a stupid noise.
He's got his tongue out,
and like like whoever's recording, someone like rushes over, so it's like fumbling with the buttons, like his head's caught in there, and he turns on like just like pure oil. Douses his face. The camera
runs over, grabs Trump by the hair, and starts slamming his head into the machine.
With each hit, he makes a more retarded noise. He goes like, It's like eyes are cross-eyed. His like nose is bleeding. His tongue's sticking out.
His face is covered in cum.
His face is covered in cum and motor oil. And finally, like, he falls flat down while the cameraman's like still hanging onto his hair. Like his toupee completely comes off. He is lean, bald. And they just see on the back of his head was like a wire connecting his hair to like a triggered bomb tied to the back of his head. And the second he hits the ground, it's like delayed for a second. And it's just going like beep, 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 like blinking red.
And like video analysts also like, but wait, what's this? And they put in slow motion. And when if like a single frame after the wig comes off, there's just a giant fucking SWAT stick on Trump's forehead. Like tattooed it.
What the fuck?
And then he blows up.
Blows up. The rest of the video, it cuts to him in a hospital bed, completely like just he looks like Frankenstein. He is covered in casts. There are like fucking sewing like sutures all over his body. Zero hair, no eyebrows. There's like 3 IV bags of like blood, plasma, and water. And he's just like, I would like.
I nominate.
I would like to nominate Smash, Joe Biden, and myself again because I didn't finish my cum.
As like he flatlines.
And then he wakes back up. Antibuscus.
And then he flatlines again. The second he flatlines this time, a doctor comes out and like kicks the cord out of the outlet. And they just like immediately wheel him out.
Like they open up a window and they just like hit the button for like yeah.
They did all that work to bring him back to life, sew him together just so we can say that.
And then after they throw him out of the window, it cuts to another camera from across the street where you just get to see Trump's body silently fall like 50 stories.
Dude, it'd be just like that fucking alligator video. See Trump hit the ground at 120 miles an hour and bounce.
And bounce.
Even more stupid, like once he hits the ground, Like he hits like a bunch, like it's like a planked like a deck, and then like since they're just like pitching a bunch of bodies out today, the next one goes out and it perfectly like seesaws the plank and launches Trump back up into the air.
The force of him getting launched back up into the air was enough to like jumpstart his heart again. So he gets to live up
during the last few seconds of his life as he comes back down again. Like break apart into a bunch of little pieces at that point.
Like all the stitching comes loose and all of his limbs go flying in the directions.
You gotta treat it like fucking like Castlevania. You gotta like find all the pieces of Trump and like burn them to make sure he can't come back.
His parts get scattered all around the world.
Or it's like a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street. Damn, Trump sure has a lot of fucking bones. Trump's coming. Oh god, yes he is. The scene is so cheesy. It's fucking awesome. But it's ruined by this picture of him with the cum all over his face. No. You don't think I'm supposed to like really just talk about how disgusting like these soda fountains would be, like what kind of disgusting shit would be filled in with it, but because I should have figured it'd be like another Trumpscapade. Just add that one to the lore book.
Thumbnail for this video better be like Trump in a
Am I really gonna have another Trump thumbnail? At this point, like, the real sad reality of all this shit is that, like, naturally, there's gonna be some vendors where, like, we have shit to talk about, and naturally, I could speak for us, like, we've had vendors where, like, we've had nothing. We've had no topics to bring to the table, and we completely were able to bullshit our way to, like, an hour and a half mark. But if we really were so inclined, every episode could just be this.
Be
a new Trump scenario. I don't even know like how I'd even like address that.
You know, plenty of podcasts, you know, have like generally like one theme or topic that like they circle around all the time. Maybe this is our calling.
It is. I think we are the best people on earth at doing this. I don't think there's anyone better at coming up with like like something this stupid with Trump. It's
not even just like on bender too. It's like off bender.
Off bender. It's like all we fucking do. And you know, I guess if I were to answer why Trump is such a funny subject, I think it all comes down to like the fact that he's like a fucking 80-year-old guy. He's like old as shit. He stands in like a really stupid way, like he's always off balance. It just like a light gust of wind could like knock him down and really do serious harm to him. I don't know.
It's like he was a man who's in a position of power, but he has such a stupid way of talking. I think that's really what it comes down to, like being able to not only like do his voice, but also emulate his style of speaking. Because you really can't do that with Biden.
No.
Like, I still can't do, like, a Biden voice.
But I guess, like, obviously, you know, Trump's, like, voice is a big aspect to it. But what makes the idea of Trump seesawing 100 feet in the air and have his heart jump, come back to life so we can experience the last 10 seconds before he plummets to his death funnier than, like, if it was, like, Biden? Like, another frail old man in a position of power who could barely talk, you know?
That's a question for only like that's some
philosophers.
Greek philosopher shit. Behold, comedy. Thanks,
Trumpogenes.
Diogenes.
Behold! He's like flashes like a woman. Yeah. Can't believe they...
It doesn't even scar because she also sees a giant bush that covers everything.
I guess this is pre like machine.
Trump's life really went downhill after he
Did that
fucking
Chick-fil-A
shaved
commercial
for the first time in 70 years.
Not on his own. They have to really coerce him.
It was like fucking Samson. Once he got his
He
hair
loses
cut off,
power.
he lost his protection, he lost his power.
Yeah, but I think, but just think about like the future of like our Trump jokes. Like we already have his voice anytime we want, like to a degree. You always just like fake him saying shit. Granted, that's not too good yet. In time, we'll have videos of him doing anything we want him to do. Hopefully, obviously, there's gonna be like drawbacks, like you can't depict politicians in these videos because that goes against our term of service. Shut up, like, someone will do it, and you'll finally have a depiction of Trump drinking cum out of a soda fountain before getting his face bashed in and then exploding.
And then waking up in a hospital and getting shoved out of the window by the doctor and falling 50 stories and bouncing.
There'll be a point where it'll be almost like, if outside of the insane concept, like you'll have no way of knowing if it was like actual footage or not. That's the power we'll have. And since we're the only ones that can come up with scenarios that stupid, we'll have the monopoly.
We'll have a monopoly, yeah. Fucking unlimited entertainment.
So I remember there was, like obviously we've gotten so much mileage out of making like Trump type, like presidential debates on like that fucking AI software, like we did during the Christmas special. And we've obviously done a shit ton of those off Bender that'll never see the light of day. And I remember there was a point where my brother like asked me, like I remember he like made a comment. He's like, it's like, you could just do that all day, couldn't you? Like, that's just all I could do. Like, if you gave me 24 hours, I would enjoy myself for 24 hours making those. I don't think I could ever run out of ideas for that.
I mean, once again, to talk about off-Bender shit, we've had extended calls, probably like 6 to 8 hours, just doing Trump bits over and over again.
There's nobody more qualified.
Like, we really can do it fucking endlessly. He's infinite comedy.
The only thing that even comes close is really just like AVGN. Which is funny in its own right. It's just like a little bit different because that's always got to be within the framework of like, at least in our case, where it's got to be like within the episodes.
And he has to talk about the Bible.
Not every time, but that has been a reoccurring theme of having biblical James.
I think the only other thing that comes close to the ranks that these two read is probably Who's Line, which I'm honestly surprised that we've never done a Who's Line bit.
It's true.
I guess it just never came naturally.
We've done the Vanderland gang before we did Who's Line, and we never even fucking like. I never even played the campaign for Red Dead 1 or 2. Whose Line would be a good one? Maybe that could be
You just can't
another
force
Bender.
it. It has to come naturally.
It does. That's gonna be hard to do a little bit, and also it's gonna be hard to not come up with something that we haven't already done off Bender for Who's Line. I think we're always gonna be drawn back to a couple of like our olden goldies. I just said that the complete other way around, like a fucking idiot. Golden oldies.
Golden goldies.
I'm just glad I like picked that up and don't have to like learn I was a retard like a week later when you put that into like the timestamp.